What's up, everybody? It's Draymond Green. Make sure you subscribe to the Volumes YouTube channel below so you don't miss any more of this great content going forward. Man, as I told y'all, this next guest is one of the guys I'm most excited to speak with. I think when we're done playing basketball, we'll probably have a show together. And it's going to be the #1 rated basketball show in the world. I'm just throwing that out there. Hopefully the big fella take the bait. But man, I'm extremely excited to welcome 5-time All-Star MVP frontrunner candidate this year, and was an MVP candidate last year, arguably could have been MVP last year as well. But really excited to welcome this guy, man, a guy who I be locking up that outweighs me by 80 pounds. He's got me about 6 or 7 inches. Joel Embiid, welcome to the Draymond Green Show, my brother. I appreciate you coming on. How you doing?
I'm good. How you doing?
I can't complain, man. First game back. I'm feeling great, bro. I'm so excited to be back out there on the floor, man. I've never been through, and I know you is someone that definitely understands it even more than I do. I've never really been through an injury that kept me out that long. Like, I was out for 11 weeks. Like, I've had some injuries that I needed to rehab, but they were all over the summer. And so I've never been through an injury that kept me out that long in the season, man. It's brutal.
Yeah, it sucks. I mean, when you think about it, I missed my first 3 years because of injury. Obviously, that also kept me out longer than he was supposed to, just because they wanted to make sure that I was right. But it sucks. I mean, for you said it was 11 weeks. For me, really 3 years. So yeah. Then especially coming out of college. So you lose, those first 3 years of experience that you can get in that time, and it does suck.
Yeah, no, for sure, man. It gave me a totally different appreciation for what guys like yourself went through, what Zion Williamson is going through, what Klay Thompson went through. Like, it gave me such a deeper appreciation. Week 2, I'm like, all right, man, like, this is crazy. Like, we in here 6 hours just in the weight room doing like core strength. Like, what are we doing, man? It's crazy. So
at some point, it doesn't make sense because you're going every single day. Obviously, you do a bunch of exercises every single day, but sometimes it's the same thing, and like it gets annoying. Like, I remember my first year, so I was doing rehab all the time, and then they had me, they wanted me to sit on the bench and travel with the team and all that stuff. And that was at the time where, we were losing a lot every single game. So like, I had to go through that, having to go through, rehab every single day mentally is already tough. And then you got to sit on the bench and watch the losing, going into the game and knowing that you don't have, like, your team doesn't have a chance to win the game. So you probably going to watch losses after losses. Like, he was, like, mentally, like, you got to be extremely strong.
Absolutely. I think for me, I hadn't sat on the bench most of the games I was out. I sat on the bench 1 game and 2 games the entire time that I missed. Obviously, we have a much better team, but I think what people don't realize, when you're going through rehab, you're on a totally different schedule than the team.
Yeah.
You're there way earlier than them because you need to get your rehab in before they come in prepping for the game or prepping for practice or whatever it is. You're then there way later than them. And to then ask a guy, like, by the way, we want you to sit on the bench. That's your whole day gone.
Yeah, for sure.
And so I thought, for me, that was a big thing where they didn't make me sit on the bench. And it was good for me. But, and speaking of your injury and essentially missing the bulk of your first 3 years, and then following those 3 years, you then go on and sign a 5-year, $148 million rookie extension What did that tell you that the team was willing to bet on you like that, and you probably had played all the 50 games leading up to
No,
that?
man, I remember when my agent at the time, I don't have an agent anymore, but my agent at the time was Leon Rose. He came up to me. He's like, yeah, they want to, resign you. They want to give you, 5 year, 150 mil or whatever that was. I was like, what are you talking about? I haven't played basketball. Like, I played 31 games in 3 years, and like, we're talking about, a max deal. Like, and I only played 31 games. And then he started going over it. He's like, yeah, but they want to put, all these protections and all that stuff. Like, this amount is guaranteed. I was like, I don't care how much is guaranteed. I'm signing whatever because this is insane. Like, they're giving me 150 million after playing 31 games. I was like, yo, they gotta be crazy. Like, and that was still at the point where, like, really, that was my 4th year or 5th year playing basketball. Really, but when I started playing in the NBA, that was really my, 2nd year because I had missed, those 3 years. So, at that point, I never really believed in myself at that point where, like, people always saw something different in me than I did. Like, at that point, I was like, I'm not even that good. Like, I don't know what they're seeing in me, but like, if they're gonna give me this amount of money and I'm not from here, I'm from Cameroon, like, yeah, I'm glad it's still it because I don't know what's gonna happen in the future. Like, I just missed 2 years and everybody's talking about he's never gonna play in the NBA. Like, he's already missed 2 years. They're talking about, all the, bust in past history and all that stuff. All these bad stories coming out, about me, whether it was the weight and all that stuff. And it was at the wrong time too, because that was at the time when I had just lost my little brother when I had to go back to
Sorry to hear
Cameroon.
that.
So, all that stuff was like, it was crazy. And, when, he came up to me, he's like, yeah, this is the deal. They're going to guarantee this amount of money. I'm like, Leon, I don't care. Like, whatever they guarantee, I'm taking it because I don't know what's about to happen. Like, I'm like reading into like what all these people are saying about me. Like, I don't even believe in myself. I don't know how good I am and how good I'm gonna be. So I was like, yo, like, I don't even want to fight it. Like, I was like, just do whatever you have to do.
That's incredible, man. I have a couple questions, follow-ups on a couple of things you just said. Number one, talk to me about not believing in yourself because from what we've seen and it's funny that you say that, and I have interest in this because I too, I am I'm not bashful at all, just like yourself. Like if I have something to say, I'm gonna say it, like yourself.
Yeah.
And I think one thing you exude confidence. Like when anyone see you, you exude like we know like Joel. Not only is Joel good, but Joel think he's gonna bust your ass. Like no matter who you are. But to then go on to say you didn't believe in yourself, like walk me through that journey for someone as confident as yourself to then lose confidence and say, give me anything. I don't believe in me. So give me whatever they're going to give me. I'll take it.
So I'll take you to the timeline. So think about your whole life. I went to obviously school. I was really good at school. I never really thought I didn't start playing basketball until I was 16. So before that, I was playing soccer. I was playing volleyball. So and I was actually at around 16 years old, I was about to actually go to France to try to become a professional volleyball player until Luke Baumute, he came back to Cameroon and he had a camp, and which, a camp I didn't even want to go to because I had just started playing basketball like 3 months before that. So I was like, yo, I'm not good enough. Like, these guys, they've been playing basketball their whole lives, and there's no way I'm going to get picked for his camp. And then I went over there and, like I said, like people always saw, something different, and I saw in myself. and he ended up giving me that opportunity. So I get to the US. I went to Montverde Academy. That whole year, like I was practicing with the JV team and the senior team, but I was playing JV. I don't know if you've seen the clip of me. I don't know if you look at it. That's a funny clip. So they threw me
I've
the
seen it.
ball and then I just run out of bounds, like thinking out the rim, like I didn't even know where I was. Like that was my first year in America. Like that was like, 7 months, playing basketball, and I was playing JV and all that stuff. And I didn't really get the chance to really show what I could do, if I could even do anything, my junior year. So I had to transfer to another school, the Box School. That was still in Florida. And then I get there, I got the opportunity, and then people started recruiting me. I get to Kansas. The first practice, it wasn't really a practice, it was like a scrimmage that we had.
Mm-hmm.
We had, I was a freshman, we had a Tariq Black. It was like a senior transfer from Memphis. People were watching, the women's team was watching. He dunked on me so hard, I was like, I'm not ready for this. Like, there's no way. So I go to Coach Self's office. I'm like, Coach, I can't do this. Like, I need to redshirt. And that was at the time I thought I was gonna be in college for 5 years, and I really didn't think I had the potential to be in the NBA, because my whole goal coming to America was to use this basketball opportunity to try to get a degree and make something out of my life and go back home and, make money and help my family and all that stuff. So I never believed that, I had any chance in basketball or whatever. So I told him, and then he's like, you kidding me? You're going to be the number 1 pick in 2 years. And then I'm like, I've always, before I got to college, I was always told that, coaches lie all the time. And then I'm like, this dude, he's just lying to my face. There's no way. I'm not believing whatever he's saying. So we go on. Obviously, I went to school with Wiggs. And one thing that people don't know is that I'm always going to be so thankful for him, because when we went to college, he has so much hype and so much attention. Like, he was crazy. Like, people were like, he's pretty good at what he does, but at that time they were like, he's the next LeBron James. Like, he's gonna be better than him. So he has so much hype, and everybody just wanted to come watch him. Like, scouts, we always had so many scouts, and I guess I was kind of also using that opportunity to show them, what I could do. So when they would come in the gym, I would be randomly walking on, Akeem, Dream Shake, and show them that, I got it. And, they started seeing that in me. And then obviously you get to the league and, the foot injury, you got to miss a couple of years. And like I mentioned, the stories are coming out, and my brother died. So I really lost all the confidence, because I'm I don't know what to do. I even thought about giving up on basketball, because my brother died and all that stuff. And, but going back to your question is the first moment that I thought that I had a chance wasn't until I stepped on the basketball NBA floor for the first time, my third year against OKC. I stepped on the floor, Steven Adams was guarding me and all that stuff. I scored a bucket, my first bucket, and then I was like, dang, this is easy. We ended up losing the game, but that's where the culture completely changed in Philly. All these losing years before me, there was so much excitement. People were going crazy. They were like, oh, it's about to change. And then I was like, wow, the attention that I'm getting, and what I was I think I scored 22 points in 26 minutes my first game. I'm like, I was on minute restrictions the whole year, but I'm like, this is easy. I can do this. And then that's where back in the day when I used to be going crazy on Twitter and all that stuff and talking to other guys, that's where I felt it, because I'm like, it's easy. And like my personality is also that I like to talk trash. Like I like to show that I'm better than, everybody else. And, that's why, I was going crazy on Twitter, whoever I was playing against, whether it was talking trash or, kicking their ass on the floor, like it was fun. But that's where I really found out that, yeah, like it's easy. I got a chance.
So for those of y'all out there, let me take you into the mind of these superstars, and it's filled with irrational confidence, which is what it ends up making these guys superstars. If y'all didn't hear him, he scored his first basket, and then in his mind, from the first basket on, it's been easy ever since. And the reality is, it has been, but there's only a select few of guys in this league that can really reach that type of irrational confidence. And so when you go around the league, you see certain guys being called superstars, and they're not. Like, the reality is there aren't a bunch. There aren't more than 10 superstars in the NBA. Joel being one of them. And that's 10 is probably a bit strong. And that term gets tossed around so loosely. But to take you guys in the mind of superstar, because I've had the opportunity to play with a few of them, it's like irrational confidence. Like, I scored one time, and then at that point, it was easy to me. And so I just want to make sure y'all understand the mindset of these dudes and how insane it is. And that's why it's only a few of those guys. But and going back, so you go through that entire journey. You go to the 76ers, and I thought you made one of the most genius moves when it came to Philadelphia as a city and when it came to the 76ers as an organization. And all these teams has something that they go by, some slogan that they're kind of where their season is or where their team is that they're going to build on throughout the year. Ours has been strength in numbers and blah, blah, blah. And the 76ers was the process. Embrace the process. You then took that name and made it your nickname, say, I'm the process. What made you do that? Because I thought that was genius, and to me, it felt like once you did that, everybody else in that city, everybody else in that fan base, everybody else in the organization was like, oh, there's our guy right there. I thought that was genius. What made you do that?
There was a couple things. The first thing was, obviously, I got drafted by Sam Hinkie. And, he's the reason why, we were able to, whether it's draft me or have this many picks and all that stuff, And then I got to the league, and my second year, it was basically forced out by, I don't want to say names, but, I'm outspoken, so I'll say it, by the NBA. I would say, I don't know, but I think that's what it was. And then, that pissed me off because I felt like, yeah, sure, there was a lot of losing, which I wasn't part of because that was before I started playing. But I knew that eventually, once I started playing, it was going to change, which it did. So they basically forced him out, and I didn't like it. And then during the time, the process didn't actually start with me, but I was like, you know what? Around that time, the league did not like the process because it was a bunch of losing. Like, they say it was like tanking, they were losing on purpose, which in the NBA, like, no one loses on purpose. Like, you're not going to put NBA players out there and tell them that go lose a basketball game. Like, they're going to go out and they're going to do their best. And sometimes, most of the time, like, if you're not talented enough in the NBA, you're going to freaking lose if you're playing against, more talented players. So you're not going to put guys out there and tell them that you're going to lose. So to me, they weren't losing on purpose. So I got pissed off because, they ran Sam Hinkie out of town, and I knew that they didn't like the process, all the losing stuff. And then I was like, you know what? I'm going to piss some people off. Like, even around the team, like, there was a bunch of people that didn't like that award. Like, I remember, like, I won't say names, but I used to get calls about like, can you please tell Joel not to mention, the process name? Like, we trying to move on from it. And I was like, all right, watch this. So that's why I started pushing the agenda about like, you know what? I'm gonna support my man because he drafted me. He had, coming out of college before I got drafted, like he believed in me. I was hurt, but he still believed in me. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna support him too. That's why I took on, that whole process thing to try to keep what he was doing and really show them that, like we got power. Like it doesn't matter if they don't want to talk about the process or if they want to forget about it. Like players, have a lot of power when they speak. And I started understanding that. That's why I was like, you know what? I'm gonna keep pushing that, and that's why I stuck.
Wow, that's incredible. And not surprising that you picked that to piss people off because that's what you do. Um, well, not surprising at all. But and speaking of the process and speaking of you pissing people off because that's what you do, and you even mentioning yourself, you were going crazy on Twitter, like crazy. One of the things that you did to me that stood out the most, and like you were one of my favorite followers when you were going ape shit on Twitter and Instagram. And one of the things that I absolutely loved that you did was when you would do the location.
Yeah.
And the location was whoever you had just dropped off that night.
Yeah.
And one that really stood out to me, because people look at the NBA today and they tend to forget like how stuff has turned over. And at that time, Andre Drummond was a starting center in the NBA. He was an all-star center in the NBA. Y'all were in the same conference. And you're just now starting to make your name.
Yeah.
And you put Andre Drummond's head, and then your caption was like, I own real estate in your head for free, or something like that you said. Like, and I'm like, yo, this dude is out of his mind. And then that kind of started this beef amongst you and Andre Drummond.
But by the way, it wasn't a beef. I was always, that's we were on the same team and all that stuff. But I always kicked his ass. Like he never had any chance. Like never had any chance.
Hey, so check this though. When he decided that he was going to come to y'all team, I was kind of like, huh? And then I saw the video. Of him arriving at the arena, at the facility once he signed, and you kind of turned and shook him up and kind of went back to what. And I was just thinking to myself, like, what is going through his head right now? Is he really feeling like I own this man right now? Like, you just came to back me. What was going through your? I have to know. I need to know what was going through your head when he decided he was going to sign with y'all. I mean, the reality is it helped his career because he's revitalized his career and backing you up and now going to Brooklyn and he's playing incredible basketball in Brooklyn. So it worked. But what were you thinking?
Well, I say this thing. So I think most of the time, like, I talk trash, or in the past when I used to like really go at it with anybody, whether it was Whiteside or Drum or whoever. To me, like, it has never been serious to the point where like I don't hate anybody. Like I'm doing this for fun. Like if people get their feelings hurt, that is on them. Like that has nothing to do with me. Anything that I say and anything that I do, I'm not kidding. So let's say whenever I'm about to send a tweet, before I even send a tweet, I'm in my kitchen or my living room just dying because I know that people are gonna go crazy, whether they're gonna take it seriously or whether they're gonna think that it's funny. I'm already so dying. And then when I send a tweet, I'm like, I'm like crying because I'm like, that's what people love or whatever. But at that time, like, I was like, when he signed with us, I was happy because I'm like, like when you look at the previous years, like every single time that I went off the floor, we always lost leads. You look at Game 7 against Toronto when we lost that series. I played, 46 minutes? 46 minutes. We were, +3 or whatever when I was on the floor. And then in the 2 minutes that I sat, we were -10. So, to me, in my mind, I was like, when we signed him, I was like, I just need like a competing, like someone who's not gonna who's not gonna come on the floor and just lose leads. So I was like, it fits, what we need, and I was fine with it. But if you're looking at the video that you were talking about, it was really nothing. I was just walking out, I was lifting, doing my thing, and I greeted him. I said, welcome to Philly. But then again, in my mind, I could never forget, the old days, when I used to go out and I remember posting that video of him dancing after I gave him, that was after the game. So about that story, so before that game, we go to Detroit. We lost that game, but I had 30 and 10. And then he ended up getting ejected or whatever. But after the game, he was talking crazy. He's like, that man is out of shape. He can't run. I'm like, what are you talking about, bro? No, you just won, but I just had 30 on you, and I'm out of shape. Watch what I'm about to do to you. So I'm like, the next meeting was a couple weeks later. I'm like, you don't know what's coming. So in that next meeting, I had 32 in the first half. I was going at him. He was in foul trouble. I was like, bro, I had 32 in the first half. I was killing him. We was up by a lot and all that stuff. That's what I remember. You texted me after the video that I posted. You were like, yo, you crazy. And then that's what I do. I had a location crazy, I own a lot of real estate and all that stuff. But that's me. For me, it's fun. He's never he's never serious where to the point where I'm like, I hate this man. I don't want to be around this man. I never take it personal. I'm like, bro, he stays on the court, and that's it. After we get off the court, if you want to, talk to me or whatever, unless you say something disrespectful to me, other than that, I would never be disrespectful to anybody, whether it's, going overboard and all that stuff. So I know where to draw the line. But other than that, it's funny to me. I just go with the vibe, man. I just love it.
That's incredible, man. I appreciate that about you because I'm the same way. I talk a bunch of junk. It's never personal. We playing basketball.
It was personal when you were talking to Paul Pierce. That was personal.
No, that actually was right off the top of the dome, man. Because I'm going to tell you what happened. I'm going to tell you what happened with that. So we're playing, and at that time, Doc is obviously with the Clippers. And we're playing, and, for us coming up, the NBA go in waves. So the Clippers, when we were really young, the Clippers were supposed to be the next team out the West. They were the next young guys coming. And we hold on, we don't really believe in them. We got something to say about this. And so it kind of, this rivalry started budding against two young teams, us against them, Steph against CP. And at that time, Blake is the guy. Blake is they hyping Blake.
He's the next face of the league.
Exactly. And I'm I'm clamping that. I ain't feeling that. And so then, me and Blake had our situations. We had one where we had half court. He grabbed my side. I elbowed him in the throat. I get kicked out the game. He go back in the game. Bogey got him a second tech. He got kicked out. And all of this stuff keep happening every time we play them, right?
Yeah.
And so then Pierce come over to the team towards the end of his career, last 2 years, I think, or whatever it was. And now me and Blake Griffin already got a thing. It's a thing.
Yeah.
And Pierce yells from the bench, go at him, BG. He too little. Go at him, BG. Too little. He can't guard you. And so I'm like, fuck out of here. Go back down the court, whatever. We come back down. They go at me again. Go at him, BG. He can't guard you. Too small. So now I'm like, right? And he like, shot fake. I go flying trying to beat the shit. And I fouled him. And I'm like, number one, why am I going for a Blake Griffin pump fake? Like, Blake shoot the ball now, but at that time, Blake wasn't shooting the ball like that. And so I'm like, why am I even going for a Blake? So now I'm fuming because I just picked up a foul and a pump fake I had no business going for. And I really went for this pump fake because you over there talking. And like I'm trying to beat this shot so I can say something to you. And I fouled and I got really pissed like, wow, you just made me foul him. So I'm walking back to the bench and I'm walking to the free throw line and he like, yeah, BG, I told you he can't guard you. And I'm like, all right, bro, I had enough. And that's why I'm like, hey, bro, you chasing this farewell tour. Like, you're not Kobe. Like, why are you doing this? If you retiring, go home. Like, ain't nobody doing no farewell tour for you and like making this whole, like, Kobe different, bro. Like, that's Kobe. Yeah. Like, D-Wade, that's D-Wade. Like, Pierce, you had a great career, Hall of Fame career, but stop, bro. Like, you ain't getting no tour. And so it just came right off the top of the dome. Like, bro, you think you Kobe? Like, you ain't getting no farewell tour? Shut up. And I was really fuming. But I tell you what, man, I never expected that when I said that to take on the life that it did. Yeah. Because there's a lot of young kids that remember Paul Pierce more for that moment than who Paul Pierce really was. And the reality is, it's unfortunate.
He was a great player.
He was the truth. Like, he didn't get that nickname by mistake. Like, he was the truth. But a lot of young kids, a lot of people remember him for that moment. And I think it was such a big moment. Number one, the microphone caught it, but it was involving Kobe. And then, like, God rest Kobe's soul. Once Kobe passed away and like what happened to everybody, how it shook the world, that statement never rang more true. Like when Kobe passed away, everybody started blowing my Instagram up like often, like Kobe anniversary and stuff. Like my Instagram blow up often from that moment. Like it never rang true because, I mean, look at that. Like we all know the reaction. We all know how it affected all of us. And so the story never rang more true.
One thing I didn't mention, Kobe is the reason why I started playing basketball. So
really,
yes, I was watching. I was around 14, and I was watching the finals, Lakers against Boston, and I ended up winning that series. That's the first time I watched NBA basketball and all that stuff. And then I was like, Kobe was killing. I'm like, hey, I kind of want to be like him. Like, this is crazy. Like, but at that time, my dad didn't want to let me play basketball because he thought it was too physical, which nowadays it doesn't make sense because like I thrive on, being physical and showing my physicality against whoever I'm playing against. And then it was like, no. And then one of my uncles had to, he had to start like trying to convince him to let me play basketball. And that's how I started, watching the Lakers and Kobe. That's why I was such a big, Kobe fan. And it hit me hard, when that happened.
Absolutely, man. It was tragic for sure. But I want to ask you this question, and I more so want to ask you this question. In me doing this media thing, one thing I hate about media is how they try to stir controversy. I think it's unnecessary. I think it's pathetic. But I want to ask you a question about this situation for my own personal sake. And what I want to ask you is, with the Ben situation, I feel like at times we get thrusted into this position of like, where you're almost defending the team. Mm-hmm. And I feel like some of that happened to you in the Ben Simmons situation because the reality is this. I think some of it happened in the Russ KD situation. Like, we see it often. It's not like it was just you and Ben. It happens all the time. And the reality is I think we lose sight, and ultimately, like with you and Ben, like you express your dismay with the situation. You express like, get him out of here then. Like you expressed all of that. But there was a point for me.
I never said that to get him out of there. I just didn't understand what was going on. Honestly, like
Mhm.
I didn't understand like what happened and what led on to that whole situation. To this day, I don't understand. I mean, even when you look at, and I don't have any problems with him. And like I said, like obviously we didn't win a championship together, but in the regular season we were dominant every single season, 50-win seasons. Like I always believed that we had a chance to win together. Like I always believe it. Even to this day, I believe that we had a chance to win. And what we were able to accomplish, obviously winning matters the most, but I feel like we had a chance, and that's why I don't understand what was going on, honestly, what caused him to want to leave. I understand his explanation, but a lot of things don't make sense.
Do you think your press conference after game 7, was it? Do you think that had any effect on him?
I don't think it did. Because, but this is what you're a member of the media and all that stuff. But this is what you just mentioned. That they're always gonna try to pick up little stuff just to make them, look right, or just to cause like controversy and all that stuff. If you look at the whole press conference, they asked me a question. What happened? What happened? Like, what caused this loss? And then I literally mentioned a bunch of events that happened. I mentioned, where it really started. And, I was being honest. Like, we all, like me and you, like, I say what I want to say. And I'm not gonna, just hold myself just because I gotta, make people feel better. And I feel like I didn't hurt anybody's feelings. I mentioned, I was like, obviously, the pass up dunk. I didn't even mention that. I said, we just we missed an opportunity, and then I actually called out Matisse for missing the free throw. And then I didn't call out by his name. I was like, we missed the free throw. And then I called out a bunch of events that happened after we had we fouled a 3-point shooter. And then I mentioned me turning the ball over when we were down 4 at that point. They ended up scoring in the fast break, which, pushed the lead up to 6 points. I mentioned a bunch of other events where we made a mistake. I mentioned myself, but the media is gonna be the media. They're all picked, that one part where I said we passed up, a layup and we missed the free throw and all that. So which doesn't make sense. So I didn't call out anybody specifically. I just listed a bunch of events that happened that led to us. Because at that point, the score was tight, or we were down by 1 at that point. When we missed the free throw. And then I called out a bunch of events that happened after, but that just had to pick, that one part where it seemed like I was calling someone out when I wasn't really to. And I was talking about like the sequence of, of events that happened.
For sure. And I think as a leader, one of the things that I do respect is you calling out yourself and saying, oh, I had too many turnovers, and especially that one down the stretch. Like, as a leader, you have to be able to do that. And I have the utmost respect for that, because I think that's very important. And it's also very important that you can talk about your teammates as well. Like we all struggle, we all go through it.
It's never personal. Like even this year, like you look at, my press conference with Tyrese, like when he's not taking shots or he's missing shots or he's not taking wide open shots, I'm like, yo, I'm calling him out. I'm like, you gotta be better. But like as teammates, and because we're so close off the court, he understands that I want him to be better, not just for me, but for the whole team and for himself. Because I understand. I don't. You know what it takes to win. I haven't won, but I feel like I have an idea of what it takes to win. I've lost, on a buzzer beater when we had a great team, and who knows? We could have had a chance to win a championship or play you guys in the finals that year. So like, I feel like I have an idea of what it takes to win, but I haven't gotten there. So like, and as you know, you can't win alone. I can't win 1-on-5. Like that's impossible. Like I need my teammates' help. So like when I'm calling out, whether it's Matisse or Tyrese, like they know that it's not personal. They just know that I just care about them, and I want to win so bad that like I just want them to be better, and they understand that. And it's never personal.
No, 100%. And I must say something to you. We've had this conversation on the podcast before where I was speaking about winning and losing. And you don't know what it takes to win a championship because you haven't won a championship. You know what it takes to win.
Yep.
Because just because it's hard to win a championship, man. Like people don't realize all of the things that has to go right in order to win a championship. Like it's not just about who got the most talent or who had the best year. It's so many things that have to go right. And so I would love to correct you here. And you know how to win. You've won since you've been healthy. You've won. Like, you know how to win. Winning a championship is a different thing that takes a bunch of things to align in order for that thing to actually happen. And the guy who I was talking about was Chris Paul, because people say Chris Paul isn't a winner. Fuck out of here. Chris Paul is a winner. Chris Paul is one of the better winners in our game. Chris Paul just has not won a championship. But Chris Paul has won over and over and over and over and over again. And you've done the same thing, and you're still very young. So don't get caught up in that whole, I think I know what it takes. You know what it takes to win. You've done everything it does to take to win. And the reality is this. Y'all lost on one of the most impossible buzzer beaters in NBA history to go to the NBA Finals, if I'm not mistaken.
No, second one.
So go to the conference finals. And then y'all would have faced who?
Milwaukee.
That's a matchup that could go either way. You know what I'm saying? And that's also not the Milwaukee with Drew Holiday. Yeah. That's a totally different Milwaukee team.
Yep.
And so it's the margin for error is this small. Like it's not like you really were right there. And then say you do get through Milwaukee, because that was the same Milwaukee team, and now you're playing a beat down Golden State Warriors. And so it's really that small, and I hope you don't get caught up in, I have not won a championship, and I'm not winning. That's bullshit. It's hard to win a championship in this league. And so don't get caught up in that.
I understand that because I've gotten to the second one, so many times. And, and you got to be so strong mentally, because if you're not, I've gotten to the second one, you get to game 4, you're like, man, you still got conference finals and finals. You got another couple games, freaking 15 games that you got to play or whatever. You got to be mentally strong because the playoffs are draining. Even the second one that I've gotten, I'm like, man, if I don't, keep doing, or if I don't take care of my body, you're not going to make it.
Absolutely. It's one of the most important things. And by the way, the whole taking care of your body thing, it takes time to learn that.
Yeah. It took me a lot of time.
The way you take care of your body, it may be differently than what I need to take care of my body, right? It takes time to figure that, and time. And so, it's all coming together for you, bro. And I can sit here and talk to you for another hour, and I would love to, but in respect for your time, I'm going to just ask a couple more questions and let you go. I know you got to prepare for a game.
We got time.
Okay. But, okay. And speaking of the Ben trade and with Brooklyn, y'all brought in James Harden. A James Harden who a lot of people has wrote off and said he's out of shape and he's declined and he's no longer the James Harden that we once knew, only to see him reignite or come in with you guys and look just like the James Harden we all knew before. How is that? And I've seen that you said, man, I get more open shots than I've ever gotten. Like, how has that partnership been working out for y'all? And where do you see y'all as far as duos in the NBA? Where do y'all rank?
Well, that's not on me to figure it out, where we ranked and all that stuff. Like at this point, like really, like I'm really just focused on, finding ways out to, get better every single day. And then obviously since we added him, like he just provides, something that we really never had since I got to Philly. So that's a welcome sight. And he's been great. And I think all of us, and especially him, is still trying to figure it out, how to help everybody. But, it's James Harden. I told him, like, I don't care what anybody says. Like, just be yourself. Like, freaking go score the ball, be a playmaker. He's been a lot. He's been, trying to play make a lot. But at times, like, I also wanted to be aggressive and look for his own shot and all that stuff. But, I mean, from all the stories that you hear out there, is completely different. I mean, fun guy to be around, positive energy always. Since he got here, you feel like, and like you said, it's all about timing. And, some situations are different than others. I don't know what happened over there. Maybe it wasn't the best situation. And I would imagine that he put a lot of thoughts into, really making that decision because you living, a team with freaking Kevin Durant. Like,
Yeah.
Kevin Durant, like you play with him, you know how good he is. And, I always say that, like I really believe in myself as far as like, talented and what I can do on the basketball floor, especially skills when it comes to, my size and all that stuff. Like if there's one guy that I think, for the size and, what, we're able to do on the floor, that's the one guy that I'm like, yeah, he's more talented than me because the guy is 7 feet and he can do everything on the basketball court and even better than I can. But James has been great. I think we got a chance to, maybe meet you guys in the finals, but we got a long way to go. We not where we supposed to. We still working on a lot of things that we got to correct, whether it's defensively and then offensively, trying to make sure that we all succeed and all that stuff. But ultimately, I think, we got a couple of games to really get on the same page and we'll be fine.
No doubt. I think it's been I think it's been beautiful to watch just for me as a fan of basketball, like to watch y'all two out there together and young Tyrese Maxey who has
Tyrese has been amazing.
Mm-hmm. I feel like his growth, to me, he's kind of like a wild card for y'all. Like, still really young. So it's hard to get a consistent 2025 from a guy in his second year in the NBA. Like, that's a very hard thing to do.
That's
to
why
learn to do that night to night.
That's why he should be the most improved player this year. So
I respect that. But I mean, we'll see. But I like how it's coming together for y'all. And then obviously, I think Doc is one of the better coaches in our league, and so I'm interested to see. And hopefully, we will meet y'all in the finals because, as you know, like nobody else in this league, I'm locking that shit up. So
whatever. That's why you need a double team every time we play, y'all.
That's crazy. I never asked for a double team. That's not even in my makeup. I always
found myself to be double every single time I play against you.
Hey, if you want to duck in like Shaq, you get 2 feet in the paint, the double team got to come, big fella. Like, I mean, at that point, you got to go for what you know. You know what I'm saying? But,
well, if you say that you're that good of a defender, I mean, I don't know. I've never asked for a double team in my life. So
me either. That ain't in me.
And I think I'm a pretty good defender, especially when I'm on. So
I mean, when we put you in every pick and roll and they bring you up to blitz because you can't get, you just like blitz it because you can't get up the floor. That's kind of like asking for a double team essentially
That
on the
is
other
not
end.
wrong. So
Hey,
you
you go
want me to
double
be,
Steph?
hold on. So you want me to play? You want me to play drop against Steph Curry?
No, you don't got to be dropped, but you ain't got to blitz it.
I wasn't blitzing last time. I was just trying to make sure we got the ball out of his hands so you can make plays because you can't shoot the basketball.
Hey, but I make every other play, and I hope and leave me open down the stretch. I'm going to can your ass.
But would I rather make Stephen Curry or you beat us? I take you any single day.
Hey man, many has succumbed to that mindset, brother. Many has succumbed to that mindset. Hey, no, but check this out. I would be remiss if I didn't talk to you about the MVP conversation with you and Joker right up there at the top. I don't think there's a wrong answer, but how are you feeling about that? Where do you feel like you're at right now, and what do you think has to happen for you to close it out this year?
I mean, first of all, Jokic is amazing. Freaking,
yes, he is.
He's a monster. You not only play against him twice a year, but you get to play against him, 4 times a year or even more in the playoffs. That's a potential matchup for you guys. You know how good he is, and I know how good he is too because I'm also happy that big guys are dominating the league. When you look at whether it's me, him, Giannis, it's good to see. Nothing against you guys, you Americans, but it's also good to see foreign people, come in, in America and just dominate you guys at your own sport. So that's good to see. But he's a monster. But I did a lot of campaigning for myself for MVP last year, which could have gone either way. Like if I would have stayed healthy, and it could have gone either way. But I was also happy that he won. And this year, I feel like I took my game to an even higher level than I did last year. And the knock on me last year was I didn't stay healthy for enough games, which they're probably going to use that against you too when it comes to defensive player of the year. But this year, what more can you ask? Production went higher. I stayed healthy, and we had a lot of drama. But you can say that about a lot of teams. But that whole situation was it was extremely draining. It was tough to go through it, especially every single day being asked about the same questions at the same subject all the time. Like it was very annoying. But like I said, everything just speaks for itself. Like you said, there is no right or wrong answer. He's a monster. But I feel like I've also put myself in a position to, where I deserve it, and it is my time. But like I said, it's up to you guys, you the media.
Well, I don't got that kind of vote. I wish I did have that vote. I think I could possibly vote better than some other folks, but I ain't got that vote yet. No,
but I'm saying your media friends, it's up to you. Who deserves it or who's gonna win it. But winning a championship matters to me a lot. So if I were to not win it and win a championship, even better. So,
absolutely.
But then again, we all have egos. Like you want to win a bunch of defensive player of the year in your career, just like I want to win a bunch of MVPs and defensive player of the year in my career. Like at some point, it would be cool to do both too, especially at the same time.
Hey man, you ain't winning no defensive player of the year blitzing Steph. They don't blitz with Rudy Gobert.
Hold on. That's why Steph always freaking kills him when you're not playing. Because you cannot play drop against freaking Steph Curry. And by the way, we had that conversation about, how to figure it out who's a great defender and who's not. So like to me, it's like I don't know. I don't know who's the favorite to win Defensive Player of the Year this year.
I'm not sure. I
It
stopped
should be
keeping up with
you,
it
but
once
it
I
should
got
be
hurt.
you.
I agree.
Yeah, I
I
mean you
agree.
got. So what would be your criteria to figure it out? Who wins the awards? Let's say Defensive Player of the Year. You gotta have a top 10 defense, right? At least.
I think you definitely have to have a top 10 defense for sure. Like it's like you can't win MVP and you got a bottom 5 offense. Like I think you got to have a top 10 defense
lower than a 4 seed or whatever.
Yeah, like I think you gotta have a top 10 defense, but you also have to pass the eye test. Like just because you have a top 10 defense doesn't necessarily mean like, hey, this guy's a defensive player. Yeah, I think sometimes that gets skewed at times.
Yeah.
But like I said in my press conference the other day, I think there's no debate through 34 games, which was what I had played before I got hurt. We were 28-6. Through 34 games played, I don't think there was any secret that I had to solidify.
Oh, yeah, for sure. I agree with that.
Okay. To follow that, I don't see who solidified themselves since then. And so my thing is, if nobody solidified themselves in these 34 games since I went out, and I had it solidified 34 games in, then how can I not still go on to be the Defensive Player of the Year? Because I didn't play enough games? Because I'm going to end up playing 48 games, I think. I've seen people win it and play 50 and 51 and 52. So am I 2 games short of being able to win it? Like, I think it's been proven, what my defense does for a team. But if I win it this year, great. If not, whatever.
But if I didn't win MVP last year, missing 20 games, you can't win Defensive Player of the Year either.
That's true. But the only thing is, where they going at you at is they're really counting against you your prior history. Because missing 20 games is not like, most guys only going to play a max of 70 anyway.
Yeah, for sure.
And so missing 20 games is really not that much. I think what they was counting against you was your past history. So they could say, oh, but he's always hurt, right? And the reality is you haven't been hurt like that in 5 years.
Yeah, I haven't been hurt.
I agree. But you know how it goes. These narratives take on a life of their own, and then that's just kind of what it is.
Yeah, but I do agree with you. But you definitely got to pass the eye test, and obviously you guys' defense is the freaking best in the league. So I guess it's not up to us; it's up to the voters.
That's a fact.
I want to mention something like, to me, it's like, I don't understand how you can be a Defensive Player of the Year if you don't carry at least top 5 or top 10 defensive team in the league. That doesn't, that would not, to me, that would not make sense. Like even me, like I feel like I've gotten so good offensively that, people forget about the defensive side. Like
absolutely.
I still like it's hard to play, freaking 36 minutes every night and do everything offensively and defensively. Like I'm gonna have my moments where we all have moments where you're gonna slip up here and there and all that stuff. But even in those conversations, I hate when I started in the league, my first goal I was I want to win Defensive Player of the Year. That's what I want. I never cared about MVP and all that stuff. And I was always, I got to win Defensive Player of the Year. But I just hate that because my offensive game has, got into another level, they just forget that, I'm still right there. Still carrying a top 10 defensive team, averaging, 1.1 steal or whatever, 1.5 blocks. It's just annoying to me. But then again, gotta control what you can. And
absolutely.
If you win enough, then you're gonna get your respect. So it's all about winning.
Absolutely, man. Last question before I let you go. And also paying homage to one of the guys who come before you from your homeland, Hakeem Olajuwon. I know coming into the league, you would always say like you wanted to pattern your game after Hakeem Olajuwon. No disrespect to the great Hakeem the Dream, because he is incredible. But I think with the way you've expanded your game, to just say it's Hakeem Olajuwon, I think it's not, to me, it's not quite accurate. Now, granted, you do have some dream in you. You got the shake, the footwork, all, the midi, all of the stuff that the Dream had. But like the way you push the ball in transition, the way you shooting the three, the way you mixing the guy's step back three, that's different to me. And so I just wanted to ask, for you, in your mind, is it still Hakeem for you, or has that expanded?
Man, this expanded to everybody. I'm a willing learner and I want to learn everything. To give you an example, my first 2 years in the playoffs, I really struggled because I was just a post player. It was easy to double me. I couldn't shoot off the dribble and all that stuff. So me and Drew Handler, my trainer, we were like, we got to figure that out. Like, I can't be easily guarded. So we had to find ways out to like add, something new to my game. That's when we started watching, whether it was Kobe, like KD, like Dirk and all that stuff. Like basically any legends that has come to the game and that had whatever particular move that they added to the game that everybody uses. So we were like, that's what we worked on. We were like, I gotta be unpredictable. Like people can't know that I'm just gonna post up. I gotta be able to take the ball, push it in transition, do a hezzy pull up like KD or fade away like Kobe or MJ. Like, so we just decided that like we needed to expand the game, my game, and yeah. But to answer your question, yeah, at this point, like he's not a king. It's a bunch of a lot of superstars that have come in to the game and all that stuff. And we had this conversation at All Star. Obviously, how I feel about old school players and how they're being rated and all that stuff. So you don't even want to get me started on that. Because I mean, can you imagine the skill level that we have nowadays, or let's say me doing that back in the freaking 60s, that would have probably put me in jail.
Absolutely.
or I would have been the greatest player ever. Like,
absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. Like, it's crazy. And we had that conversation, and sometimes it just pisses me off.
No, hey man, if anybody get it, I get it. The skill level today is like so far ahead of what it was back then, which is why I don't understand the whole NBA 75 list.
I don't understand it either. I mean, there was some names on it. I'm like they put the highlight on it. I'm like, I watched someone dribble like one hand, and I'm like, like this is crazy. Like I'm way better than this. So I don't know what you guys are saying. Yeah, I don't have the resume yet. Like I don't have that, but when you talk about the skill level and like if I'm actually better than a lot of those guys, then I don't know. Like, and if you don't agree, then we can't talk basketball because the skill level nowadays compared to back in the day, I don't know. They would have probably shot us back then if we were doing all this stuff.
Absolutely. It's crazy, man. It's impossible that you can say some of those guys on that list are a part of the 75 best players to play. And it's like, come on, man. It's
I mean,
something off. Something is off with that list.
No disrespect. I respect all the accomplishments and stuff, but when
absolutely.
That's another conversation for another day. But there's a lot of names on that list where I'm like, I don't know what you guys talking about, but there's no way.
But stop it. Stop. Hey, man. JoJo, brother, I in my heart believe you going to be on the 100. I don't know how they're going to be able to deny you that. I don't know how they're going to be able to deny you. I hope so, man. We'll see.
You're going to be too. Hey, you got a resume, man.
Hey, I appreciate it, brother. But I will tell you this before we go. I'm also not sure how they're going to deny you MVP. And like I said, that's no disrespect to Joker, who is incredible. That's no disrespect to any other guys that's in the running. DeMar has been incredible. Ja Morant has been incredible. I think there are guys who are definitely deserving to be in that conversation. But with what y'all team dealt with this year, for you to keep that team right up there, the 1 seed most of the year, 2 seed, for you to do that, missing an all-star, it wasn't like the trade happened right away and there was another all-star there. You missed an all-star for 60 games. And to still carry that team the way you did with guys in and out of the lineup, I don't know what else you got to do, my brother. But whatever you're doing, man.
I don't know either, but, like you say, there's a lot of guys, that can be mentioned. And, I have a lot of respect for all of them, especially Jokic, because I'm so happy that, bigs are taking over and all that stuff. So
European bigs, not to be mixed up with you American bigs. European bigs.
Whatever happens, happens. If I win it, great. If he does, it's whatever. So
hey, listen, y'all. JoJo is going for the European bigs, for the African bigs, and for Giannis, the African descent European big. That's who we rolling with. My brother, I appreciate you coming on, man. As I said, I could do this for another 2 hours. Thank you so much for taking the time, bro. Really appreciate it.
Of course.